Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 frames per second. I am Authenticity. Today I'll be playing VOC. I'm joined by my fantastic friend.
Hello, I am Winona, and I'll be playing a Scribbles Scrambles today. And for everyone who is listening to this, this is happening before technically the last FPS is a favor to ask, because that FPS is going to lead into stuff. So, this is before all that happens.
And they should probably also listen to at least the ending of, what was it called? The one where they baked.
Ah, yes, the Suful episode.
The Sufal episode. If you don't know which one's the Sufal FPS,
My mind is blanking because I just got home from work.
Alright, well,
Events of note. That's what the FPS is called.
events of note. Wonderful.
Yeah, like technically, I will already have this organized timologically in my playlist. But for right now, if you're somehow getting this out of order or you just found it randomly, that's where it is in the timeline.
Yeah. Or if you're following my playlist, which hasn't been updated in months, RIP. Anyways, so what is Scribbles dreaming about tonight?
It's the spirit. So he's probably dreaming of Animus right now. The glowing lights, the beautiful candles, say just be around a large fire in what looks to be a castle with his family.
Oh, so wholesome. I feel so bad. I think that, like, it's one of those dreams where, like, you're in a place and you go through a door and you're in a place that has no business connecting through that door.
Yeah,
But, Um, and in the dream, it's the holiday spirit, so you're like, ooh, I should bake some Animus cookies.
as you do.
Mm. So you go into the garage and it's not the kitchen, and you feel sad about that. And then you go through another door and it is the kitchen, so you made it. Um, in the way of dreams.
Yes. and he and he probably just starts making Animus cookies.
Well, unfortunately, it seems that someone is already in this kitchen. But I don't blame Scribbles for not seeing them at uh first glance because at first glance it looks like someone just left like a big huge pile of like gray rags on the floor. And then the pile of gray rags reaches up with one gnarled old lady hand and grabs a spoon and starts mixing a bowl that's on the counter. And you can see that this is actually just a very old, like raggedy woman dressed in like a heavy shawl and a big gray dress. And most of her is covered by her clothing so that you can really just see the tip of her really long nose and um the wizened hand that she's using to stir this batter.
Okay, since this is a dream, will Scribbles care or not? Let's make a wisdom throw. That's a nat 1. He does not care. He just starts making his own batch of cookies. Just right next to this old lady.
Hmm. I think she looks over and like you can't really see her expression, but there's a kind of a smile in her voice when she goes, "Oh, you're much politer when you're asleep, darling. Let's see, you're going to need flour first." Hands you the flour.
Uh, I don't know what you mean, but thank you for the flour. As he takes the flour.
I think that she tests the consistency of batter and goes, here, taste. And there's a spoon shoved in your face.
What does it taste like?
It's a great batter.
Yeah, he's like, pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you. It's my own recipe. Ah, yes. Let's see. Who on earth dreams of a kitchen without an oven? Why don't you manifest as an oven?
I, the make another wisdom throw. That's a nat 20. He's like, these dice know what they want. He's just like, manifest an oven. That's not. Wait, this is a dream? As he looks around.
The wizened old woman nods very patiently.
I mean, okay. I haven't had one of these dreams in a while now. He just like tries to like point his hands and it's just like almost a very childish way to like make something appear and oven just pops into existence.
Very good, very good. Let's see. Preheat to 400. What recipe are you using over there?
uh he looks at the recipe card which is blank because it's a dream.
Never mind. You can bake them at 400 as well.
I I don't I mean maybe usually I don't of course I don't remember off the top of my head what I usually preheat the oven to. This
Mm-hmm.
this this is a weird dream. Say, and he just looks at this raggedy old woman. And it's just like very strange.
Gives him this gnarled grin. You can see the glint of like crooked teeth. Um, it's like, well, let's see here. You're going to want cinnamon. You're going to want nutmeg. You're going to. Are you making a buttercream frosting?
I mean, I don't know. I just realized I was in a dream.
Well, the trick to buttercream frosting is that you must let the butter come completely to room temperature. Um, and she will go on like this, like basically, um, like it's very much like baking in a kitchen with like an accomplished, chef. Like you
Yeah,
can tell by the way she moves, she knows what she's talking about, in so much as your dream.
yeah. Which I think with that nat 20, Scribbles is gonna be pretty sus right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is way too detailed for a dream.
Yep, and like she's using terms you don't know, like she's doing things to the batter that you're like, I is that the way that you roll batter for cookies? Um,
Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, that I don't know how to do that. This does not seem right. And Scribble just squints at this old woman. He's like, who are you?
oh, you are getting a little bit rude, aren't you, dear? My name, well, let's see. You have to understand that I've been a little bit spoiled on names in my day. Yes, they're a nasty business. I think you want. I let's see. You can call me Book.
Bach?
Book.
Bach. Huh. Wait a minute.
Like your your name is Scribbles Scrambles, and you're a professional wizard, and you can't pronounce the word book.
I I can too. It's just a strange name. It's just like what I used to call TOC, talk.
TOC.
Yes.
Interesting. But it's book, it's not book.
Okay, book. Um, but
Yeah,
let's
we
let's
got
back
it in the end.
let's back up. Do you know TOC?
Well, hmm. I don't think I want to answer that question.
I mean, I kind of want you to since you're the one invading my dreams.
Are
I
you sure you're not invading mine?
I am pretty damn sure. I don't know how to do that. Let's start that off the bat. Two, I don't even have that spell yet. It's another spell level.
I think as like you're going on, she's like cutting the cookies, taking care of the rest of the batter, putting them in the oven, dusting her hands off. Like,
Look, I, I don't technically mean to offend, but at the same time, so much is happening in all of our lives that I really don't. I just want to be protective of my family.
oh, that's understandable. Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember my youngest sibling was very protective of us, and I used to think that they were a little bit dramatic, and then all of us died, so they weren't. Anyways, and then the oven dings. She's like, "Oh, they're ready."
Wait a minute. You died. Are you a ghost?
And then you wake up.
Scribbles looks around immediately.
Um, you are in your bedroom. It is early morning. Maybe even a little bit before you usually wake up, but you feel refreshed. Um, can you roll me a perception check?
Yes, I can. God damn it, that's another one!
Oh my gosh. Nothing is wrong in this kitchen, in this apartment.
That that's fair. Scribbles is just like, what was that? And he's just he's still concerned, but at the same time he sees nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
he just slowly gets back and slowly like sits down and just falls back asleep.
Mm-hmm. And I think the camera pans from Scribbles, like through Scribbles' doorway, watching Scribbles sort of like doze off again, over to the kitchen counter, where there are some professionally made, artfully decorated Animus cookies, laying in this wonderful little basket.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Um, I think over the course of the day, someone will notice them. Like
Yeah.
you see, one of the kids walk by munching on one, and you're like, "Where did you get that?" And they're like,
Yeah,
I
Scratch
thought you made them this morning."
Scratch is like nibbling on a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
And Scribbles is just like, where did you get that? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, right here. Didn't you make them? And Scribbles like, no. And and Scratch takes another bite, and Scribbles like, how many have you had, Scratch? And Scratch just becomes quiet. He's like, okay, so you had a lot. Okay, so they seem to be okay,
Mm-hmm.
but he looks to see if the window is open.
The window is as locked as it was last night. Um, so how many cookies would Scratch have eaten?
Let's roll and see. He ate about 4.
4 cookies. Okay, so Throughout the day, Scratch will notice that his tummy hurts because that's a lot of cookies for such a small boy.
Worth it.
um, the next night, what does Scribbles dream about?
What does he dream about? Let's roll a percentile. Where's that? The percentile dice? There we go. Oh, that's higher than 50. It's still a good dream. So he's probably dreaming about just he's in the castle again, but it's more like outside the castle. He's in the garden. Say just looking at all the pretty flowers that may or may not exist.
Mm-hmm. I think that um as you're walking through this wonderful garden, a smell reaches your non-existent nose. It smells like someone's like almost like a barbecue, or someone's cooking meat out of doors.
Yeah, Scribbles is definitely gonna investigate that.
Mm-hmm. Um, Traveling in dreams is sometimes it takes forever, and sometimes you just have to think and you're there.
Yeah.
And so you take a step and you run the corner and you come across a little clearing, a little pavilion in this beautiful garden. Um, where someone has started a cooking fire. With a spit above it. Scattered around, you can see familiar herbs and ingredients used in cooking.
Mhm.
And you see a hunched, ragged figure slowly turning the spit, um, upon which appears to be a chicken.
Let's roll some if Scribbles remember this raggedy old woman.
Mm-hmm.
He does. And
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, you again?
Oh, good morning. Yes. I must be frank with you. You don't eat enough poultry in your house. Let me show you how to do it. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. And you feel yourself drawn forward towards this cooking fire.
I mean, there's a slight reason to. I mean, we don't have it as often because TOC, who is a chicken, is a part of our family.
Are you going to eat your family?
No,
No? Then what's the problem? Come here. Now, the first thing you want to start out with is temperature and spice. Because if you get either wrong, it's going to be dry.
I mean, fair enough, but you I mean, okay, Book. That's your name, right?
It's something.
I mean, I'm gonna need a little bit more than something to reassure me. Like, how did you even get into my dreams? Like, what god or person told you to teach me how to cook?
Oh, I very, very rarely do what I'm told to do. It's a long-standing policy of mine that I really recommend. No, I just, I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. You're an okay cook. You're really very mediocre at it.
I mean, he looks at the professionally made chicken. I
Yep.
I wasn't trained at all at cooking.
Well, now you are. Isn't that nice for you? And I'm not even charging.
I mean, can you charge? Are I don't even know if you're actually like I think I remember last time. Are you a ghost?
Kind of.
Kind of.
She turns the spit. Now, why don't you get those garlic cloves chopped?
You're not gonna answer my questions unless I go along with this, aren't I?
I might not even then.
He goes over and does what he's told.
Yeah, and this old woman will walk you through, chopping cloves, and she shows you how to the proper application of turmeric, how to calculate spice on the 5-star scale. Like it's interesting, especially cooking out of doors. Like it's she seemed perfectly comfortable in the proper kitchen that you had earlier, but she also seems very comfortable just plain cooking with what's around you. At one point, she like picks up a pine cone, sniffs it, and goes, nah, and tosses it away.
Yeah, and Scribbles eyes that. It's just like, are pine cones technically edible?
Everything's edible if you know how to prepare it.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, like I said before, it's just like, it's not that I don't like to eat chicken, nor my family does it. It's just like, but when we get all the family together, we like to be mindful of each other's like tastes and dislikes and just and he looks at the chicken. I'm pretty TOC that is sort of disturbed about eating, well, themselves.
Mm. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I have to imagine it would be quite alarming. Still, let's see. As long as you leave these two out and she moves a couple more spices, you can use these for beef, you can use these for head cheese, you can use these for pork. Really, sorry, hang on.
You're fine.
No, sorry, I thought someone was calling for me.
Oh, you're fine.
But yes, this old woman, like, like, you have the idea that she's keeping an opinion to herself, but also, she's amiable enough to, leave this be.
And Scribbles is just gonna keep playing along with this dream in hopes that he may be able to get some more information out of her.
Mm-hmm. I think at the very last she's like, well, this does appear to be ready. I'm going to leave it on the cooling stones over here. And let's see. I don't suppose you're going to want to partake in this one. You just don't throw it away. I will be very displeased.
I mean,
But perhaps give it to there's a charity down the street. Why don't you give it to them?
I mean, wait, down the street.
And then you wake up.
Scribbles looks around again.
Mm-hmm. Can
And,
you roll me a perception check?
yep. Oh, thank God, that's actually a better perception check. That's gonna be a 22.
Yeah, it's as you come awake, the smell of the cooked meat, which honestly does smell really fucking good, lingers with you
Yeah,
and doesn't seem to fade.
Scribbles is immediately gonna get out of bed and look at the kitchen.
Yep, and wrapped in blue gingham is a perfectly done spit roasted chicken, artfully displayed on the plate, surrounded by all sorts of cooked veggies and garlic cloves and things.
Scribbles looks at the chicken. He's just like, I mean, okay. I mean, TOC isn't gonna be here tonight, so I'm guessing I got dinner cooked now. But what the heck?
Does he try to serve it to the family, or does he donate it?
He probably has it for dinner for the family.
Mm-hmm. Question: does the thought of actually throwing it away ever actually occur to him?
For like a brief second.
Hmm.
But then he remembers the cookies that Scratch had the previous day, and he was like, "Wait, that must have came from that dream, and those were okay." So I'm assuming that this chicken is fine too, but I'm gonna need to know how this chicken came here anyways.
Mm-hmm. I think as he makes this decision and sets it back down, like there's the tension in the air sort of like relaxes that you didn't even really notice in the first place.
Mm.
Question: does he look how closely does he investigate the kitchen for signs of how this chicken got here?
Probably pretty close. He's just like, this is not normal. So he probably he went straight up to the chicken and like inspected it and just is probably looking around the kitchen itself.
Would you like to roll me an investigation check?
Yes, I can. Unless a passive investigation in 19 will do it.
Um, I'll say with a passive investigation, I think that one of the most telling things you see is a wrapper for, uh, a raw chicken bought from the local grocery in your trash can.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not like it came from the ether. This chicken was bought and sold by someone, and through means uh mysterious, it wound up here.
Yeah, Scribbles is probably. I'm gonna roll an actual investigation to see if he could like find signs of who the heck made this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice. But I'll need the calculator because I can't do math in my head.
What you got, and what's the modifier?
It's an 18 plus 9.
18 plus 9 is 27.
27.
All right. I mean, I will say, first of all, there's no sign of, any forced entry anywhere in the apartment. There's also not any sign of anyone other than Scribbles using the kitchen. Like everything's in its proper place. Um, there are, dishes and bowls used that have been, cleaned and put in the drying rack, just as they should be.
Mhm.
Um, you are very certain that no one was in this kitchen who wasn't supposed to be.
Which makes him more confused than anything. He's just like, how the heck? Which Scribbles is probably. He's just like the next day is just like, okay, it's gonna mess up my sleep schedule a little bit, but I'm gonna try to take a nap and see if I actually can summon this person, book, whoever they are, to try to get answers.
All right. Well, let me see where did my stat block go? There we are. Alrighty. Their insight is all right. You have a very restful nap.
Mm. And Scribbles wakes up from his nap and he's just like, I'm gonna have to actually go to actual bed. I have to wait the whole damn day. And Scribbles does wait the whole damn day to go to bed. And
I'm sorry, you sound so done.
Scribbles is so done. This is his home, dang it! And he wants to know what the heck is going on with it.
Alright, so that night, what does Scribbles dream about?
Probably the kitchen. Probably he's in his own kitchen, because this has been on his mind.
Interesting. Alright, this dream's a little bit different because, man. The dream starts with you in your bed.
Mm-hmm.
And for a reason you don't quite understand, you sit up and you put on your slippers and you get up out of bed. And you really don't know why you're doing this. It's almost like you're moving automatically. And you pause at the window and you look at the night sky.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's very almost automatic. Like you're following a script that's been set for you almost. And you seem to think for a while. You're not quite sure what you're thinking about. And then you cross to your bookshelf and you reach behind your regular cookbooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull out a big battered gray one that reminds you of another dream you've had. And you flip it open and you're not really sure what you're looking for, but you're paging through it. And you come across a recipe for a vegetarian pizza. Um, and you go to your fridge and you make sure you have all the ingredients and you get them out. Start making this pizza, and you're almost kind of bored. It's the person hasn't shown up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think you just have it in the oven when something catches your attention. Outside of the window, you hear um a familiar man singing. And you don't know the voice, you can't put a name to it, but there's someone singing out there. And you feel very grim. You feel like you're facing down a fucking dragon again. And then you wake up. And then you're like, God damn it, because you didn't actually get to do anything in that dream.
Nope. Though he does think about the book and just immediately just goes over to his cookbooks. Like, I'm pretty sure Sally is probably somewhat concerned by now.
Yep.
But Scribbles is like, I'm technically okay. I will figure this out. You worry about you, darling. And he just goes over to the bookshelf and looks for that book.
Mm-hmm. The book is not there. But could you roll me an investigation?
Yes, I can. Okay, so that is going to be 13 plus 9, which, yep, 22.
Um, there's a thin layer of dust back here. That has a vague rectangular shape in it, as if something had been resting there for some time that has been moved.
Mmm.
I think with a 22, you also see traces where something dusty, like thin and dusty, has scraped against the side of the bookshelves.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like if you've ever seen the tracks that bird wings leave in snow. Not quite the same, but similar.
Yeah. It, Scribbles is actually gonna pull out his spell book, and
Hmm.
he wants to cast Locate Object.
Sure.
And he wants to try to see if he can find that book.
Can you uh send me the description for that spell?
Yeah, I'll put it here.
Thank you.
No problem.
Describe or name an object that's familiar to you. You can sense the direction of the object's location as long as that object is within 1,000 feet of you. If the object is in motion, you know the direction of its movement. You do not sense that book within 1,000 feet of you.
Hmm. Scribbles is like, well, okay, that's that's weird, but at least I know it's not here. And
Mhm.
Scribbles closes his own books like that satisfied like snap of a book shutting, and he flicks his hand and it just disappears within him.
Mhm. Yeah, and for the next, I don't know, week or so, that's the
Mm-hmm.
last that you hear of it. You don't have any weird dreams. I know you cannot yell while I'm on recording, sir.
Aww.
Um, the cat is here. He is a baby. He makes little squeaky noises.
He's adorable.
Not on my keyboard. All right.
Yeah,
There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm ready.
you're fine.
Uh, what's Scribbles up to in that week or so? How does he investigate, or if he does?
He tries to like he's not very sure how to investigate since this is a dream. This has all been happening in dreams. He probably maybe tries to he tries to do like have Scratch do a little stakeout and
Mm-hmm.
tries to seize what happened at night.
Mm-hmm.
That or he's like
Oh, please go on.
hmm? Though probably another thing that he tries to do is actually ironically goes to TOC. So he's like, oh yes, this thing may know TOC. TOC may know this person. Thing/person. I hope I'm not in trouble.
Sure. Well, you know where TOC where TOC lives.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and TOC
I
just
think
gets a knock from the door.
yeah, they as you're knocking on the door on the roof above you, you hear a papa, and their little chicken head is sticking out from over the edge of the roof.
Hey TOC, I'm sorry for the coming unannounced, but this is sort of important. Can I come in?
They stare and they jerk their head back over the edge of the roof, and it is quiet for a second. And then the door opens.
Yes.
And TOC's signs, "Come in, come in, come in. It's good to see you. It's been a while."
Yeah, it's been a while. I know I'm sorry for the intrusion on no notice, but I've honestly ran out of options.
Oh God, who's been kidnapped?
No, no one has been kidnapped. It's like it's not technically bad, but at the same time, I'm just like I sort of want to get to the bottom of this because I have no idea how they're doing it.
Okay. Well, come in. Let me make you some tea. And they shuffle through their hammer space. I'm not going to do a roll because this is not a big thing, but they're like, this is for you, and they hand you an animus present.
Oh, oh. You didn't have to. He takes the present.
Mm-hmm. Does he open it while they're making tea?
Yeah, he opens it.
It's a new notebook. Um, and the pages are templates for new spells.
Aw, and Scribbles like, aw, thank you very much. And say this will go perfectly with all my spell stuff.
Mhm. Oh, uh if you look inside there's another smaller package that is addressed to Scratch.
And Scribbles sees that and he smiles like, and I'll make sure this gets to Scratch. He's is a it's a little bit say I've been trying to get him some basic tutoring with some other people so he can get used to like having teachers that are not me for when he goes to eventually public school. So that so I'll get it to him when he's out from that.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, I'd help with that, but I'm pretty sure you don't want me teaching anyone anything other than fighting, getting angry, gardening.
I mean, gardening's nice, of course. And
Gardening's nice.
you never know, maybe Scratch will need some combat training, say, but that's down the line. I mean, I not today, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about what's happening in my own home.
I think they pause in the middle of pouring tea into your teacup, and they're just like, have you had break-ins?
Technically, no. And that's the weird
Okay.
thing. No one seems to
Okay.
have been breaking into my house. Everything's been locked tightly.
Then things have been moving on their own.
Yeah, they have, and they like know where everything is supposed to be. Okay, it's gonna sound weird, but someone has been cooking professionally in my home.
Huh.
Yeah, like I had animus cookies. That is like, but here's the thing: I've always had a dream. Like I had a dream of this old gray, this lady, this, and she's cooking, but
Huh.
it, her she goes by the name of Book. I thought she meant Bach for a second, but I she meant she kind of insinuates she kind of known you, but I don't. So that's why I'm here.
I mean, I know a lot of old people. A couple of them are gray.
Yeah, and he goes to fully describing her too.
And it's like, huh. Actually, let me roll them a history. Zero. They're like,
Zero.
huh, that that doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just like they technically haven't done anything bad. They just made me meals for some reason.
You
And
said it was Animus cookies and
roasted chicken.
ugh.
Yeah,
They make a face.
I mean,
They're like
I know
like
that's a bad subject for you. It though.
I I don't mind people eating chicken. I can't smell it.
I mean,
And I will not be partaking myself.
understandable is say it definitely like not. Scratch had the cookies like before anything, and like nothing was poisoned. To say no magic or anything. The only thing that I had as something that like it seemed like someone bought the materials, brought them in, and it's just like it's like from the supermarket. It's like where I usually go to get stuff, but yeah, it's just like in the dream I was cooking like what the cookies I made in the kitchen, and then the another dream I was outside in a garden with a spit and everything over a fire cooking the chicken. Is just like I I don't know what to think of it. The only other thing, like ironically, there hasn't actually been any activity since my last dream. And he goes on explaining the last dream and the dust in the bookshelf and the what looks to be like feathers, like the feathery dust print.
Mhm. I think they're. Huh. I mean, and you're sure no one's been breaking in?
Yeah, no one has been breaking in.
Well, if they broke in, but they brought things, or if they didn't break in, but they brought things from inside, then it has to be someone who came through the door in the usual, like, regular person way.
Yeah, but everything I always lock up everything at night. That's just I don't it doesn't make sense.
Hmm. Do you want me to stay over?
I would like you to stay over if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind.
Yeah, if you could say, I mean, there's no guarantee that it'll happen again tonight, but I it would help get some reassurance just in case if it does.
Of course. I wouldn't mind in the least. It'll be nice to see the kids.
Yeah. And of course, have you over for dinner too.
No chicken, please.
No, no, definitely no chicken.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, unfortunately, I can't come over tonight, but I'll be over bright and early tomorrow as soon as I'm done.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks.
Mhm. So, what does Scribble dream about tonight?
What does Scribble dream about tonight? Um, you know, let's go with what I dreamed last night, which is nothing. Scribbles is just hanging out in the void.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I think that like you find yourself in this uh this infinite dark space, and just you're just chilling, man. Um, it's not completely nothing. You can feel and hear snatches of warmth and cold, song and voices, but you're just hanging out.
Mhm.
And I think eventually you suddenly things shift, and it feels like a dream that you're reliving a memory in,
Mhm.
and you are small, like really really small, like doll sized.
Mhm.
um and you find yourself on this broad marble expanse, um and you're kind of laying, um like you have an awareness of more than just looking up at the ceiling, um but you're just sort of like there. What do you do?
probably can move. He probably will want to move around if he can.
Yeah. As you look up, you are in an enormous kitchen. And there is this just gargantuan a person wearing this sort of long green cloak, or not a cloak, but like a long dress with the sleeves rolled up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have sort of an auburn hair. They seem to be maybe a half coon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they seem very tired, but they are rolling dough with their back to you. Um, Off in the distance, you can hear children laughing and shouting, a conversation going off in a different part of this building. Um, and you are very small, and you are in a kitchen.
Scribbles sees the person and he see them cooking. He probably just probably just goes up to them.
Hmm. It's interesting because it's like sometimes in dreams you can just sort of like fly wherever you are if there's no footing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is more of a struggle. This is like you feel like you have to like almost flap your arms, or like if you're wearing a cloak, then like the folds of your cloak. It's not really either arms or a cloak, but
Uh.
you don't really have a word for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and where do you go?
Like I said, probably towards the person that's kneading the dough.
Hmm. I think that she looks up with a start and she goes, "Oh my goodness, hey there, little guy," and she like scratches the top of your head, and she like um leans back and calls, Friendragar, your spell book is doing weird things again. And from another part of the house, the conversation cuts off and goes, "It's harmless, leave it be." And she's like, "Huh." Gives your head another little scratch. Do you want to see what I'm working on?
Scribbles tries to say yes.
Instead, it sounds like almost the flutter of leaves, or maybe paper rustling.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman chuckles and goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to make a pie. I'm going to make an apple pie, and I'm using a new recipe for the dough. So we might have to modify things as we go on, but it'll be a nice adventure. Come here. Let's see. I don't want you to get doughy. Just watch for now. Just watch, and we'll teach you how to cook. That'll be fun. We'll teach you how to bake."
Oh boy. uh,
Um, and I think it's at that moment that the out of the window, the sky darkens suddenly, like someone tossed a blanket
mm-hmm.
over the building, and they hear the there's the sound of a man singing,
Yes.
and she looks up, and the sort of amused smile on her face um fades a little bit.
Yeah. Scribbles does not like that music. That singing.
Mm.
And he looks to see who it is.
Um, you see a tall man, wearing sort of a broad brimmed hat. Seems to be dressed in um sort of farmer's clothes, if that makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing too fancy, not shabby either, but like good working clothes.
Yeah.
Um, and he seems to be he's your woman out by the gate. Neither of them seem to have taken any notice of the fact that it's suddenly dark. And he seems to be handing over. It looks like a water filtration system of some sort.
Hmm.
It looks handmade.
Interesting. Yes.
And go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna ask what you want to do.
He's just gonna watch this man because, like, he's getting bad vibes from this man, even though he doesn't even know who he is.
Hmm. Can you roll me a history check?
Yes, I can. What is that number? Oh, that is a good number. It's a big number.
Oh,
No, it's not at 20, but it's a one right underneath it. So, roll
19
19
plus
plus. Make sure my history I got. Yep, 9.
19 plus 9,
28.
28?
Yes.
Yep. All right. So you, in your travels with TOC, or not your travels, but your association, you looked up what the infamous Professor Moss looks like, right?
Yes.
This man looks a lot like her.
Mmm. I see.
Not exactly. Like it's he when he takes off his hat to be plate to the woman who's receiving him, you see that he has straight hair. He doesn't have curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and his facial structure is a little bit different, but very much like her.
He has a theory, but he doesn't. He has a strong theory right now.
Hmm.
He does not like. He's not very sure if he likes this theory, but he also then is just like, okay, this may have to do with moss. I don't know exactly what, but let's see where this keeps going.
Hmm. And then you wake up.
And Scribble is just like looking around. It's just like, okay, I have some names. I have a lead. Will TOC like this? Probably not.
Hmm.
But I can at least ask him about it tonight.
Um, would you make me a perception check?
Alright, will do. Oh, good. That is a dirty 20.
Hmm. So you smell something that smells absolutely fantastic. And as you, I think at this point you just make a beeline towards your
No, yeah.
kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're covered by a nice gingham cloth that you recognize from your own linen closet. Is a beautifully baked apple pie.
Just like in the dream.
Yep. It's got like sort of scrolling. It's the venting they did in like little shapes, and they like poked the shape of like trees and leaves into it to make a nice border.
Yep.
Um, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Scribbles is not gonna let anyone touch that pie until TOC arrives, because if there's any familiar with the scrolling or like the look of how someone made this pie, they will say they're hoping that they'll recognize it.
Mm-hmm. And um, with a perception, you notice that the book that was gone um from the bookshelf originally has reappeared, but in a different bookshelf.
Yeah, Scribbles is definitely gonna go over and take that book and look in it.
It's old enough that you have trouble understanding a lot of it, but would you like to roll me an investigation?
Yes, I can and will. That's a nat 20.
Ooh. Well, first of all, as you're flipping through it, you're like, wait a second. And you realize that there's an apple pie recipe that perfectly demonstrates how to make this pie, including how to calculate how to do the designs that have been done with the venting. But also with a nat 20, you can make out that originally the inside of the first the inside of the cover read a spellbook property of um Fredrigar Blight.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also tell that for a time that book or that inscription was written so that if you knew the guy, or was enchanted so that if you knew the guy, you'd know who it was, but it would say something different from the actual name.
Interesting magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, say Scribbles is not gonna take this book out of his sight. He's gonna keep it in his hands all day until TOC comes around. But he's gonna be curious and like flip through the book and see what the recipes. Like he's looking for the chicken and the animus cookies.
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, you don't find a recipe for the chicken. You don't find one for the animus cookies. A lot of it's waterlogged. A lot of it's been damaged. Which is unfortunate because you can tell that originally this was a spell book. Like originally, you find inscriptions for thaumaturgy, for mending,
Yeah.
going up towards probably until like second or third level spells.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but then the handwriting changes, and you see, uh, inscriptions for different types of medicine, for soups, and how to make breads. A lot of like good, strong, hearty, sort of rustic fare. Um, and then there is um, a large stain on a page, and then the handwriting changes again, and actually instead of like it being written in like a proper book,
Mhm.
there's like these little blocks of text, like many per page, that have been written with very small pencils and very small handwriting.
Yeah, and Scribbles does smile at all this, like, well, you definitely have history to say at least, and someone at least try to continue to keep you written in. I can at least appreciate that. Being passed down from user to user looks like, based on the handwriting. Probably the best theory.
Hmm.
And he tries to, like, he's not very sure it will work, because sometimes this works for spell books and sometimes it doesn't. But he does try to like clean up the book with his own mending and prestidigitation.
Hmm. I mean, prestidigitation will take a good deal of the dust off, and you can see that it's not just gray from like age; it's gray because like, oh, this it was bound in gray fabric. Um,
Mhm.
and for most, sir, for most of the for the book, um, not only is it resistant to uh prestidigitation and mending, but it's almost like you get the idea that like you're you've offended the book. Like the book's like, excuse me, you're going to try to like give me a bath? Are you serious?
Scribbles feels that. It's just like I he's just like puzzled for a bit. He's just like I sorry. I mean I you book should be taken care of. I didn't mean to offend.
I think eventually, I think it's at that point that like you look up and you realize that it's like evening, and you've been staring at this book and interacting with this book for the better part of the afternoon.
Mhm.
And you have been roused by a knock at the door.
Yeah, and Scribbles with the book in hand because he ain't taking a hand off that book. Just goes over and opens the door.
And there's TSC, and they have a little overnight bag.
TOC, don't I have a tale for you?
What? What happened? Who died? Who's been kidnapped?
No one, but he like motions a hand inside quickly.
They very quickly get in, and they're like, okay. Like they sort of lean in with a sort of serious face because they're like, okay, what's going on?
I think
Like,
I offered
what's the danger?
no immediate danger, and he closes the door behind them and locks it. But I think I somehow found something from your past, or at least Moss's past.
Okay,
As
okay.
as he sits down, probably next to them on the table, as he like puts the book on the table, and then like also looks at the pie that's there.
I think they're like, oh, like they seem to like they examine the pie and they're just like, is this one of the things?
It's it's made exactly how it was in this book, which he opens it up to like show the name.
Mm. I think like TUC hops up on the table to see this book better, and as soon as they get a good look at it, they like wince, like, oh, sorry, headache. I'm fine.
I I could see that because well, this book appeared after I had a dream. And Scribbles goes on to tell exactly what was in the dream and who was in the dream specifically.
Frederick. I'm I'm sorry. They're I can't. I didn't know any of the names of the people, but they sound they they could have been denizens of the bog. They could have been um
I mean, the farmer that I saw looked a lot like Pete Moss. I mean, I have a theory that it could have been their dad.
they she didn't look like her father. Except for the hair. They had the same like curly hair. Um
Hmm.
but I'm sorry, describe him in more detail.
And Scribbles describes him in more detail.
And I think that they sit and they rest for a second. Um that that was the man who killed my sisters, her uncle.
No wonder he looks so, at least looks similar. I'm, I'm sorry.
It's
It makes sense then. I mean, I don't know what this book has to. do with that, but I felt a cold dread whenever I heard the uncle speak, at least sing, I mean.
The professor thinks he knows where she is. This is something to bring up at the next meeting. But I don't know. I've never seen this book before. And they reach out to touch it and like flinch, and it could be your imagination, but you think the book flinches back.
Yeah, Scribbles not very sure what to make of it just yet. It's just like, well, I, as someone whose whole life is based around books, I will make sure to take care of this book in whatever way I can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, say it's a good recipe book. I mean, I haven't tasted the pie yet, but if it was up to par with anything else that was cooked, I say it should be damn good. Which I actually already looked through the book. There was no recipe for chicken nor the animus cookies in there, but if it but it's still the thing is it's still sort of same lines of dreams. It's just becoming more clearer in a way.
Mm.
But I would still like you to stay over the night if you don't mind.
Of course. Of course. Sorry. I was lost in thought.
Anything you want to talk about? Just anything you want to get off your mind?
I I wish I could tell you more about my past really. It that time my memories are fractured, and there's still so many missing holes, but it feels close. It feels like the things that are gone aren't gone. And that's so frustrating.
And Scribbles nods to this. I can only imagine how frustrating it is.
And we find a piece in your house.
Yeah, I don't know where it exactly came from. I mean, I was looking for cookbooks a while back, and maybe I can only assume that's where I picked it up, but it didn't. But nothing really happened until more recently.
Mhm. Actually, let me DM you something.
All right.
Um, not particular to this conversation.
Mhm.
Um, but um something that might come up later in the FPS.
All right. Sounds good. Ready?
Mm.
I am fine with that spell.
Hey, this is great listening.
Hee hee hee.
All right. Well, but back to the matter at hand. I think TFC like settles on your shoulder for a second. Like just taking comfort from having you there with them and sort of revving themselves up for whatever this evening has in store. Because what the fuck?
Yeah, and Scribbles is just petting them, trying to comfort them. It's like, I I was hoping to help you in some way, maybe reclaim a little bit of that past, but looks like we're in another sort of dead end, in a offshoot of a dead end, if anything.
Mm.
But like I said, I will definitely keep this little part of the past close at hand and take care of it. I I say I will try to say it is an older spell book for sure. You can even it's actually really funny as he opens the book. You can even tell it's been passed down from person to person and meant a lot to the most likely to the user that to pass down the book itself. You can see like it starts out like a regular spell book. There's the normal like wizard spells and then just slowly transforms into like a little family cookbook.
I I recognize some of this writing. Well, kind of. It used to be on. I don't think it. I'm sorry, this isn't my forte, and I absolutely couldn't read back then. But um, it reminds me of um the writing that one of the other farmers would put on the supplies that they would send to our farm.
Hmm. I mean, I I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. I never grew up in that sort of community, but I assume if it was in a bog where like maybe a lot of farmers were together, that kind of would seem normal of them sharing and or giving out supplies and like having their own little businesses and stuff.
Mm. Well, if I'm going to keep watch tonight, I should get in a long rest beforehand. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and I need to start cooking dinner too. He flips the pages open and gets to a vegetarian pizza. It's just like I think I got the recipes for this one.
Actually, that's one of the ones that's written in very very tiny font. You need like a magnifying glass.
Let's see if Scribble has it in his fumble thing. Let's see if he can get it out. Yep, he's able to get it out.
Nice.
And he gets a little magnifying glass and he starts slowly like making the pizza.
Yeah, and you have a wonderful supper with your family in TOC.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that night, you go to bed, and you wish TOC a good night, and you fall fast asleep.
Yeah.
So for this final dream, what does Scribbles dream about?
What does he dream about? To make this interesting and how low I rolled, it's a nightmare.
Ooh.
It's a nightmare of his family being hurt and the King of Rings just floating over them with Scribbles being the last man standing.
Mm. I think that, like, as you're facing off against the King of Rings, like, as he raises his arm for one last attack, like, suddenly your vision, like, shifts and you're seeing behind him. And you see that familiar woman. And her hood is back a little bit, exposing more of her face, but you still can't see. Sorry,
It's
you
alright.
still can't see her eyes. But you do see in her hand a gleaming butcher's knife,
Mm.
and she steps forward, and the King of Rings pauses and looks back at her, and they flicker, and they look like a gargantuan man. They look like an ogre. They look like something gleaming and small and sharp that you can't quite make out.
Ooh.
And they look like Pete's uncle. And he takes a step towards the woman, and she snarls. What do you do?
Yeah, he's gonna go over and try to protect the woman.
Mm.
Because
Does he cast a spell? Does he
he tries to like cast a spell.
mm-hmm. What spell?
Hold person.
Hmm. What's the DC on hold person? What do I roll?
17.
17. Okay. And what um what skill is that? Or
Uh,
what ability?
it's a spell, but it is a hold person in particular is a what was the magic? Uh,
Sorry, do I make a wisdom saving throw,
oh
charisma?
wait, sorry. Yes, I didn't know what you're asking. Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
As chains like appear around him and try to hold him in place.
All right. Okay. All right, with a 27, I think he succeeds.
Yeah, he succeeds.
So, for a second you uh weigh this person down, and you see that the chains pile over and over on top of each other, much heavier than the spell usually lands on someone. And then their shoulders sort of drop, and the chains slide to the floor. And this this person turns back to you with sort of a slight smile, and then jerks back as his hair has been pulled from behind until he is face to face with this woman. And she just smiles and goes, "I'm going to gut you."
Ooh, badass woman here.
And I think he, like, recoils, like, instinctively, because what the fuck? Um and she gives him a little push, and this sort of slice of shadow that he steps back through opens a little bit wider, and
Mm-hmm.
he disappears inside it. And the second after his head is gone, the butcher's knife whips through the air where it used to be and lands in the wall behind them.
Ooh, interesting.
And the old woman who's breathing hard looks at you and smiles.
Are you okay?
No. And she sighs and bundles herself a little bit tighter in her shawl and goes, "If you can, tell them I said hello."
Tell.
And you feel yourself start to wake up. But as your vision starts to fade, the old woman's eyes widen in surprise, and she takes a step towards you.
Mm-hmm.
But before she can do anything, um, would you make a wisdom saving throw with advantage?
Yes, I can.
Or excuse me, with disadvantage.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see how this rolls out.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're okay. That's gonna hurt even more. The first roll was a nat 20.
Oh
God, if I get a nat 1, I'm gonna be so pissed. Okay, it wasn't a nat 1, but okay, that's not half bad for a modifier. That's an 18 in total.
no! Okay. Fuck, let me check the DC. That might make it.
Say meets a beats it.
Sorry. For a second, your thoughts blur, and you feel something tug your memories into a new shape, and um the visage of the man that you saw in the dream fades, and you are actually, he's going to expend a luck point to make you roll again.
God damn it.
No disadvantage this time, because I feel I've tortured you enough.
All right. Apparently I passed, but let's see if I get lucky twice. That's cockeyed. Yeah. Okay. That's gonna be a 15.
For a second, you hold on, and then something pushes back, and uh, you lose the memory of what exactly the man in the dream looked like.
Mm.
Um, you lose bits and pieces of your conversation with TOC the earlier day, particularly some of the information that they gave you about the bog and who the man could have been.
Mhm.
And you feel very much as if the issue of the cookbook has been resolved.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And as you swim to consciousness, you feel your shoulder being uh, jostled very roughly. And you blink your eyes open to see TOC shaking you awake and looking concerned.
Oh, TOC, is everything alright?
You were crying.
I was. As he, like, puts his hand up to probably feel the tears.
Yep.
Here's the important question. Does he remember asking TOC over to watch the book?
Yes.
Or at least to watch the place, I should say.
Yeah, you have all your memories of, the issue and, why it's been so effective. But you really feel as if TOC being being there, helped out, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't
Alright.
have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, he feels like, that's weird, but nothing happened.
I will say you do remember, um, you remember bits of the dream. You don't remember the person's face. Like
I,
you had a dream and the woman was there and you had some kind of interaction and you think like you saw your your people be hurt and that wasn't good.
yeah, from the
But
King of Rings, and Scribbles like, I just had a nightmare about the King of Rings again.
oh, and TOC fluffs up and steps into your lap and goes, "Okay, you want to talk about it?"
Nothing really to talk about. I mean, it's just the worst case scenario that played in my head of just everyone being hurt, and he was probably about to get rid of me too.
Well, I think they gestured to Sally, who is fast asleep beside you. Definitely, and it's not just that we'd have to go get Wiz.
Yeah.
Um, and they help you stand and lead you over so you can look in on Scratch and you can look in on Marigold.
And Scribbles does, like, just give a sigh of relief. He's just like, yeah, yeah, they're okay. They're okay. But, I mean, nothing happened, so.
It the book didn't move. I was staring at it pretty intensely.
Well, what, whatever it was, I guess it's done and over with. I guess there's nothing to really worry about this book.
There are things to worry about with everything.
I mean, I mean, I, he shrugs. It's just like, I mean, there seems to be nothing wrong with this book.
They give it a poke. The book does not move. Okay. If you're okay with it, I'll stay over for the rest of the night and just watch it. But
I mean,
okay.
if you're, I mean, you don't have to. I
I
mean,
am worried.
there's probably nothing to worry about. I'm fine.
Okay. But unless you want me to go, then I
I'm
told you
not
I'd
gonna
keep
kick.
watch.
I mean, I'm not gonna kick you out near the middle of the night and say you rest.
Okay.
As he probably just leans down and just gives picks up TOC to give him a hug.
Hmm. They hung back. They're very confused.
I almost want to see if they want to roll anything. But at
I
the
mean,
same
they
time,
can roll. I'll make them roll like an Arcana. How's that?
yeah.
Seems fine.
I love
Well,
I I love this. But it's a Squirrel's probably just holds them and walks them over to where they're resting and places them down. I'll head back to bed.
okay. I will definitely go to sleep.
All right. As Scribbles goes back to bed like nothing's happened.
Yep, and TSC is going to I think they position themselves so that they can see both the book and like a little ways into Scribble's bedroom. And they will keep vigil for the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh. Ah.
Well,
I mean, yes. Does anything else happen when he falls back asleep?
if it does, it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good night, good day, whatever. Have a good time zone.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye.
Bye.